Hey everyone, welcome back to part 2 of our fish trout art that we are doing. We're going to delve into a couple of other different art methods, some still involving paint, some involving other media formats, so to speak. So here we go, let's check out what we've got. Now, sticking with kind of a painting method, we are going to get into fish prints. So fish prints started off kind of as a Japanese history and art and science all blended into each other. So it's pronounced Jyotaku. I'm pretty sure. I looked it up. I will write it on the next slide so that you can see what it looks like when it's spelled. But basically it is using an actual fish so that a fisherman would have caught, and then you put ink on the top layer of the fish, and then you use rice paper and smush the rice paper on top of the inked fish, and then when you peel the paper back up, it leaves the print or the impression of the fish with the scales and the eye and everything like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys an actual example of it on my computer, and then we are going to do a highly modified version of our own fish prints. So here you can see an example of Jyotaku, which is they have their fish. Yes, that's a real fish. They painted it with the ink, and then they put the piece of paper over top, and they smooth it all out. And then when they peel it out, look at that. There's your print of your fish. So there is an actual artist, we're talking about art, right? There's an actual artist that does this for a living with a fish that people catch off the coast of Hawaii, and he does these beautiful, beautiful fish prints. Look at these. And this is all from taking a fish, painting the fish, and then smushing it down. And then he adds some color and different details and everything. So it's pretty cool. Now we're going to be doing a slightly different version. So are you ready to see the fish that we have? So here's our lovely fish. It's not actually a real fish. It is a kind of rubber example of a trout. So what we're going to do, since I didn't go out this morning and catch a live fish to do this, we're going to use my rubber fish here. So let's see if we can get a print from it. So I have some paint over here. Now, of course, this isn't ink either. We're modifying it. Art doesn't have to follow rules, as we said, right? So I'm going to take my paint and I'm going to paint my fish. I'll catch up once I have the fish painted. Okay, so my fish has been painted. Now I'm going to take this piece of paper and cover up my fish. Try to get it all on. There we go. And now I'm just going to rub it, press it down, making sure that I get all the fins, because some of the fins are, lower than the actual fish itself. Get its head. Other fin, its tail good. All right, this is legit my first attempt, so let's see what it looks like. Oh, that's pretty cool. Look at that! Look at our fish! That's so cool! You can see the textures off the scales on the fish. You can see its fins, all the lines in its tail. Well, that's pretty cool. Now you could take this then, and you can either leave it as is. You could do another fish in a different color on top of it. You could add a background. You could then outline this and do all sorts of different details and everything now that you have the basic shape of your fish. This would definitely be pretty cool to try if you are a fisherman and go out and you catch a fish. It would be pretty cool to then do this style of art. Now, of course, if you're planning on releasing the fish, please do not torture the fish by painting the fish, trying to do a print and then releasing it. This will, of course, be on a fish that you intend to keep and eat, and once it has already finished flopping around, because otherwise, if you have a flopping fish that you're trying to paint, it might be a little difficult. But if anybody does fish prints, I would love to see them. They're pretty cool, pretty cool. So now let's move on to yet another style of art. This piece of art that I have in front of me was made by Mr. Chuck Dinkle. He is really good, an amazing artist at doing flies. So you can see he tied these flies. And then the cool thing is that then he can use his flies not only to go fly fishing, but he can also use them in art pieces, such as this beautiful clock that he made me. Now, these flies are made in so many different ways. They're for, you know, different types of fishing styles, different water quality, all of that, and you kind of base your different flies off of the bugs that your trout would be eating. So here is a photo of someone fly tying. So you can see it's pretty cool. They have some sort of grip that holds the hook itself, and then they take feathers, and they're using these feathers and different objects to then tie a string around to make the feathers then look like different parts of the macroinvertebrate. So I think probably my favorite one here is actually this guy right here. You can see it looks like the fly has little antenna, and then it's got the different body parts on it, and then under there is of course the hook that's under there. So even the fish get fooled by the different flies that fishermen use, because they're supposed to mimic, of course, their natural food source. Fly tying can get really, really crazy. So watch this. If we go to Google and just type in fly tying, and we go to images, I mean, check out some of these flies. Pretty crazy. I mean, look at that. So people really, really get involved in the art of fly tying and can make some beautiful, beautiful ties. Look at that one. Whoa. That's really cool. Look at these. So they're absolutely gorgeous. And of course, then your fish will come up and want to eat them. Actually, I'm pretty sure Mr. Tom even tried using a fly to catch, you know, in quotations, didn't actually catch it, catch one of the trout in a trout in the classroom tank before. He just had, you know, one without a hook and put it in at the top, and the fish would actually come up and bite it. Great way to test whether your fly is a good one or not is whether the fish come up from the fish tank to come and eat them. So yet another example of art that people might not think as art. You know, when you usually think of art, you're talking about, oh, you know, drawing or painting, but art encompasses so much more. And then our final piece of art that I'm going to show you, of course there's plenty more, is the art form of filmography. So filmography is, you know, making movies and pretty much doing what I'm doing also, and have been doing with making these different videos. Making these videos is a type of art form. I'm not necessarily quote-unquote good at it, but I've been able to put these videos together. But the video that I'm going to show you guys is actually a video of Mr. Tom, actually not, has a little bit of him in it, but him making this awesome little camera thing in order to film the fish that we tagged and released back in March. So here is that video clip.
Hi, this is Tom G2. I'm here on the Gwynns Falls, the upper section, and I'm looking for our two triploids that we released here a month ago. Today is Tuesday, April 27th, 2021. And for those who've watched the video before, I'm going to flip around to, and this is the camera setup that I'm using to look for our ladies. The water is very clear today. I do not see them swimming right now, but that doesn't mean that they're not there. The creek itself is very, very clear. I do see some soda cans down here, which might indicate that we've had people fishing, and oh, I see a nice size chub out there. Looks like the glare in the water is just a little bit too much. So I'm going to get my camera set up and see if I can throw some food in there and attract our ladies. Okay, they're still here. The two ladies are swimming. You probably can't see it on this view here, but they're still here about a month after we released them. The water is probably got about 3-4 feet visibility. Looking good.
Thank you, Mr. Tom. That was awesome to be able to check in on our ladies again. And the fact that they're still there and thriving is so amazing. It was awesome to watch them grow up from teeny tiny little eggs up to their fingerlings. And then, of course, when we released them at their 15 and 16 inches, I'm glad that even if there was some fishing there that our girls didn't get caught yet, but they do, of course, have tags so someone can report it to us if they do catch them. But my fingers are crossed that the girls get to stay in that creek there for a little bit longer. So again, thank you all for tuning in. If you do any sort of art, I would love to see it. I love seeing different people's impression of doing different things, whether that's photography, painting, maybe you do paper mache, maybe you do sculpting. There's so many different art styles that exist out there, and I love to see where kind of people's brains go. Also, if you see this video and you're inspired to do some art but you're afraid, don't be afraid. Just go, just do it. The worst thing that can happen is you're like, I don't like it, but then you might show it to someone else and they're like, yes, please, let me have that. The beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So anything can be beautiful and can be really good art, even if you're not an artiste. So thanks again. If you have any comments, questions, feel free to email us. I'll be checking that, and hopefully I'll be able to see you one more time in May. We're gonna go on a stream hike here at Irvine, see what macros we can find, see if there's any fish in our streams. But then there will be a little bit of a hiatus as I getting married at the end of the month, and going on my honeymoon. But then hopefully in June, we'll be able to release our fingerlings, and we'll do a whole video on that as well. So until next time, bye.